Hi, I'm Randi Fine, narcissistic abuse expert, coach to clients worldwide, the podcast host of A Fine Time for Healing on Blog Talk Radio. I've been doing that show for over 10 years, and I have more than 500 shows on there. All kinds of things that probably will interest you. And I am also the author of 2 books, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind, The Narcissistic Abuse Survivor's Guide to Healing and Recovery, and Cliff Edge Road, a memoir, which tells the story of how I got to where I am today. So today I want to talk to you about why we have a hard time letting go of the good memories from the narcissist that we've had a relationship with. So first, let me say that there is a physiological reason for it. When we have a good memory, our brain remembers that intact. When we have a traumatic memory, our mind fragments it because it's too difficult to keep it in one memory. So it's very easy to remember a good time, but when you try to think back to the bad times, you start to get confused. And you begin to rationalize. You begin to say, well, I don't really know if that was as bad as it seemed. And that's because you're not remembering it intact. And that's okay. But the other thing is that narcissists use something called intermittent good-bad reinforcement. And they do that whenever they think that their target, their victim, is catching on to them or pulling away. They will do something nice. They'll really step out of character and become kind of what you want them to be. They'll make a nice gesture, purchase something for you, anything that they think will impress you, but they do this to throw you off balance because they don't want you to see the bad side of them. They don't want you to leave them, to know what they're doing. So they throw in this intermittent good-bad reinforcement to confuse you and throw you off balance. And what you will say to yourself, it works. It does work because you want this person to be a different way. You want them to be either the way you remembered or the way you hope they'll change into, the person you hope they'll change into. So when they do these things, you think you've got that person, finally got them back, or finally got them where you want them to be. And then you let go of all the other bad things and you hold on to that. But you see, narcissists cannot be good most of the time. It's not their nature. They can't be kind. They can't be generous. They can't be thoughtful. It's not their nature. So they're going to revert back to the person that they were pretty quickly. And so you'll go through this cycle. You hear about this cycle with domestic violence and domestic abuse. This honeymoon phase that leads to abuse. And then back to the honeymoon phase. So when you finally decide to leave your abuser, you're going to have a hard time with this because you're going to be holding on to good memories. And that's very normal, considering what you've gone through and considering the mechanisms that have been used against you. So what I recommend, well, let me just back up a little bit and say that most people, when they come to me, if they have not done a lot of research into narcissistic abuse and they have not confirmed in their mind that their abuser was in fact someone with narcissistic personality disorder, they will generally say to me, well, he or she is not really a bad person. And they really don't believe that the person is bad, which is unusual if you are outside of this looking in and you think, my gosh, that person was so cruel and unfair and unreasonable. How can you say that? But I just explained why they say that. They're not really sure that the person had a negative agenda with them. And so often people will try to focus on the positive as they're trying to heal. They'll keep remembering the good things. They try to hold on to the good things. And that's what they will ruminate about. And when you do that, you cannot heal from this. You cannot recognize what kind of horrible abuse you've suffered. So I recommend that people, and this is odd, but everything about narcissistic abuse is counterintuitive. I recommend that people focus on the negative. Really focus in on the negative. If you have to write down all the things that you remember this person doing to you, do it and then review it. But until you can see the narcissist for who he or she truly is, you cannot heal from this. So that's what I wanted to tell you today. Please go to my website, randifine.com. There are lots and lots of articles on there. There's a shop where I have some very inexpensive downloadable MP3s on different topics of narcissistic abuse. And I'm also putting up some downloadable 11 by 17 posters that have beautiful affirmations, and actually they're on, the look of them is beautiful. You can download them, you can frame them. So that's going to be coming this week. And visit my show on Blog Talk Radio, A Fine Time for Healing. You can access everything that I do through randifine.com. Go to the menu and just look around and have a good time. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.